It's 2026 officially, and as of right now, everybody in the world thinks that they can just get a business idea, go online, talk about it, and get sales. And yes, they are right, but it's not as simple as that. Some people, despite putting so much effort into content or so much money into ads, barely get any sales, and it's mainly because of two reasons. And that's exactly what we're going to be discussing in today's video. Hi, I'm Abdul Rahman. On my page, you'll find breakdowns and case studies of viral creators or viral videos. Now, why do we do this? To learn from them. Because these creators have achieved something which you and I both desire. A business that creates an impact, a consistent set of leads, and financial freedom. Now, we don't just learn from the successful ones, but also from the ones that haven't succeeded yet or just straight up failed. Why? So we know exactly what to do and what to avoid. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. Now, the first reason I noticed when comparing a successful calisthenics coach to a guy who tried his hand at fitness coaching is that one chose virality and one chose value when creating content. Can you guess which one chose what? Yes, the coach which chose to put out more value content compared to virality content still has a successful business going on, whereas on the other hand, the guy who chose virality content just quit fitness coaching altogether. Now, why does this play an important role? You have to think about marketing in a very basic concept. What is marketing? It's gathering attention. It's creating a reputation around a brand. Now, reputation is basically how people perceive you. Now, there's a difference between value content and virality content. Virality content is usually more funny or relatable or kind of engaging. At the same time, value content is boring. Oh, how to do push-ups? Not a lot of people are going to see that. But on the other hand, virality content could be something like, oh, too busy to go to the gym. Now, what happens when you start posting too much virality content or more like funny and relatable content is that the way people perceive you changes compared to the value-based content. To give you an example, think of a guy who's always making jokes. Eventually, people won't take him seriously. Now, similarly, when it comes to creating content, you're not just putting out videos over there to attract audience to your brand, but you're building a brand image. Now, one guy can position himself as an authority in the industry. On my screen, you will see Levi, who has trained over 300 plus athletes already with 5 years of coaching experience. He has a book, a call with me link, and a link to his school community. And if you look at his content, majority of his content, if not all of them, are usually educational. They are based on how they can help his audience, mental progression or handstands or anything related to calisthenics. He's teaching his audience how to do something. Now, next creator who I said tried his hand at fitness coaching but failed is Even Body Combo over here. Now, from his bio, the first line we see is funny Aussie who goes to the gym, so we know what he is. Now, as for his link in bio, he has a link which leads to his Even Body workout program. Now, this is about 25 bucks and it's more like a ebook or e-document. The reason I'm so sure this hasn't worked in quite some time is because I copy-pasted this link into RF's traffic checker and it told me that it's been getting zero traffic for quite a while now. At the same time, if you look at his content, majority of it is POV. Now, POV is relatable content. It's either POV or skits or joking around, playing around, something like that. Now, how do I know this guy has tried his hand at fitness coaching? It's because the first highlight we see is of him flexing. Now, this guy looks jacked as hell, okay? I'm telling you, impressive physique. Now, as for his second highlight, we can tell that he's trying to sell his workout program here. This was last updated like 20 weeks ago, so nearly like 4 to 5 months back. But I want you to think for a reason. Would you rather trust the guy who's always funny, doesn't create content related to fitness at all, or the guy who's already trying to create content which his audience wants to learn? Now, as for why I think the value-based coach is more successful, is because when we look at his school community, there's over 133 members. And from his description over here, we can get to know that it has lifetime group access. Now, the limited number of members tell me that this guy is definitely offering some kind of high-ticket coaching. And the program is around 3 to 6 months calisthenics course. Now, I find this more exclusive because he's not just accepting anyone, but the person who goes to his page has to manually book a call with him, and then he decides whether you guys are a good fit or not. Hey, just a quick note, I was editing my video and thought I had to add this. Now, there's nothing wrong with creating funny content, okay? But if you are trying to start an educational coaching business, maybe a fitness training, or if you're experienced musician trying to start his coaching, yeah, if you create funny content or more relatable content, people might not take you seriously. I mean, it's all about how you portray yourself online. At the same time, if you really enjoy creating funny content, if you're a very creative person, you like putting skits out, you like making people laugh, then yes, you should go ahead. I 100% support that. I mean, come on, this is free world, right? Moving on to the second reason, I think it's mainly because people don't know how to present themselves. Being a creator myself, I tried my hand at content hundreds of times, and I really thought every single time that I needed to know more about the hooks, or know more about content, or know more about how the algorithms work. But no, it was not that. It was not a knowledge problem for me, it was an articulation problem. What I mean by that is that sometimes you have so much information in your mind that when you meet someone super dumb or just beginning and you have to tell them, you have to advise them, you literally run out of words. Now think of it this way. You might be the smartest person in the planet, but if you were to explain the same concept to a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old, how would you explain it? Would you explain it the same way you explain it to your PhD buddies or something? There's a difference when a bodybuilder talks to another bodybuilder and when he talks to an absolute beginner. Because an absolute beginner is not going to know shit about bodybuilding. He's not going to know what the muscles are called or what food to eat, what protein powder is the best. No. All he wants to know is what exercises he needs to do to do biceps curls. At the same time, if you were to go to another experienced bodybuilder and be like, yeah, bro, do bicep curls, he's going to be like, bro, I already know that. So articulation is basically when you try to convert the thoughts in your brain and explain it to another person in a way they understand. This brings me to my original point, which is, what is marketing? Marketing is communication, and in communication, there are two parties. Now, when I'm talking to you, okay, there are multiple ways I can convey a point. I can convey it using my eyes. I can convey it by talking to you. I can convey it using sign language, or I can do a bunch of shit and I'll make sure you get the point. Similarly, in content online as well. You don't just have to speak. You don't just have to record yourself talking to the camera. No, there's tons of ways you can present idea. Now don't leave yet, but I created a previous video where I converted one idea into 70 different freaking reels. So if you're into that, check it out later. But as of right now, my point remains the same. What is communication? Communication is when you convey your thoughts to another person. So there are two parties involved. Now this is where a new generation marketing tactics come into play, and it's called hyper-targeted marketing. What does this mean? Now the first thing you got to understand is about yourself. Who are you? What is your story? What are you selling? Why are you selling? Who are you selling to? Why are you helping other people achieve the same goal as you? Now once you're clear about yourself, what you're offering, who you are, and what's your story, and all of that, everything about yourself, now you start thinking about other person. Now you know what is in your brain. Now you have to understand how you can convey it to another person, which is where you have to understand what is your ICP or IVP. Now ICP is called an ideal client profile and IVP is called ideal viewer persona. Now both are almost the same thing, but let me just explain to you. Now, especially starting last year, 2025, you probably heard that edited videos are reducing and people are going for a more raw, authentic form of content. Why? The raw, authentic form of content has one thing, which is that the creator in those videos understands the audience better than anyone else. Now, most of the time, there's only two things you'll consider, which is what is the audience problem and what solution you have. But is that really enough to them? Now, there's three main things. Starting off with desires. What is your ideal target audience desire? Usually, in your case, what you're coaching is basically what the audience desires. Let's say you're a super jacked bodybuilder putting out fitness coaching. The audience is someone who wants to look bigger, fit in their clothes, and all of that. At the same time, if you are a super experienced musician who's putting out his how to play the guitar course, then your audience is someone who wants to learn how to play the guitar. Now that we have the desire stick, now the second thing we need to know is what are their pain points? What are they exactly going through? What do they not know? Or how can you help them cross a certain path to reach where you are right now? To give you an example, a guy new to fitness might not know what to work out. He might not know what food to eat. He might not know how much he should rest between workout splits. He's not gonna know shit. That's why you are here. You're supposed to teach that guy. Now that we have the desires selected and the pain point selected, there's one more thing which most people usually miss. Think of it this way. Everybody has problems and solutions are available at the click of a button. You can just go to YouTube and search anything you want. Now that's one thing that's actively stopping them from using the solution to solve their pain points, which is themselves, their own limited beliefs. An example of this, you know how women think they can just work out for one session and become like super big and it doesn't happen? That is one limiting belief. That is something that's holding them back. I've been working out for freaking 2 years and I still look super. These three main things. Get to know their desires, get to know their pain points and the limiting beliefs. Now you'll have a proper understanding of who your ICP, IVP is. Now you know who you're talking to. The other day I came across this reel where the creator was like, oh, so you're scrolling on your phone, delaying all your tasks. And I was like, what the hell? How do you know that? That is going to be your audience reaction when you speak out what is going on in their head or what is going on in their life. Overall, marketing your coaching business is simple. Understand who your audience is and create your content to be a bit educational as well as entertaining at the same time. If you want to know how you can do that or what type of content you want to make, just check out my previous video. I promise you, you will find it super helpful. Creating content is dirty work, man, I'll tell you that. That's about it for today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and subscribe. Subscribe so you don't miss out a super insightful case study I'm dropping this week. Until then, I'll see you next time.